Today I'm drinking a Badger State Brewing Muy Bien Mexican style lager, which is a beer brewed with limes. It's a very pretty can and a mug, just so the can doesn't distract you from my content. Hello everyone, my name is Maddie. I am Junction Knitting here on YouTube as well as on Instagram. Welcome to episode 2 of my podcast. Today I'm just going to be talking to you about some of the stuff that I talked to you about last week. You know, how my weeks have been, possible new projects, all that kind of good stuff. So if you guys want to go ahead and grab your needles and knit along with me while I'm talking to you for the next half hour or so, enjoy. Today it is Tuesday. It is kind of windy, and we just got a thunderstorm advisory here in the Midwest. So it's gonna be kind of rainy. If you guys hear thunder in the background, that's why. It's because it could possibly be thunderstorming. So far it hasn't, but we'll see. I really love thunderstorms, so I'm okay with this. It means that I get to have an excuse to not leave my house and to just listen to the sound of nature doing its thing out there and being angry at the world for a little bit, and it's really cool to enjoy. This past week, it became summer here in the Midwest. It was hot. It was 85 degrees. I think at the highest, it got to like 88 degrees. And of course, I had to work outside during the hottest day so far of the summer here in the Midwest. So if you see my little farmer's tan that I have going on, as well as this lovely little V-neck tan line, that's why. It's because I was not a smart girl. I did not wear sunscreen. I only wore it on my face because apparently you can't get cancer anywhere else. But I learned my lesson. From now on, I won't be wearing sunscreen when I'm working outside, even if it's cloudy. I started school this past week, so that's cool. Been starting my summer classes. It's just a written class, just doing written communications. It's my last general for my college degree. So then after that, I don't have to worry about taking any kind of general classes. So far, it's going well. I'm not usually a writer, so it's a struggle for me to sit down and write. However, I'm enjoying this class. So far, it's really cool. For the rest of the week, I'm just working. It's going to be kind of a weird, cloudy, dreary week. I'm just going to be working. I have one more class this week, and then working my waitressing job. But you guys aren't here to listen to me talk about my life. You are here to listen about me talk about my knitting. However, you clicked on my vlog, so I can tell you about my life if I want to. This week, I have one finished object for you. And it's not the finished object that you guys probably think it's going to be. Last week, I was kind of implying that my sweater was going to be done. However, this week, it is a ripple bralette designed by, or the pattern is by JessieMae Martinson, or JessieMae Design on Ravelry and Instagram. It is a black and rainbow yarn that I picked up from the Wisconsin craft market several years ago, and I had a couple of the little skeins left that I knew would be perfect for knitting up a bralette for Pride. So I'm planning on wearing this to Pride. It's obviously not blocked, and it looks teeny tiny compared to my frame. However, it does fit. I did shorten the straps on it. I crisscrossed them in the back, so they're a little longer than what the pattern calls for, but I did shorten them by about an inch from my measurement, and I probably should have only shortened them by half an inch. They are a little tight, however, they are still supportive. So they will be fine for wearing in the heat of the summer when we go to Pride later this month. So I'm really excited to wear this guy. I initially wanted to, actually I had 2 little bits of a skein left of each of this colorway. And I initially wanted to alternate skeins so this pooling wouldn't happen. However, it looks like it did happen. I'm not mad at it though. It's got this cool variegated rainbow look versus just a blocky rainbow look. So I'm okay with it. Once I realized what was happening, I didn't rip it out right away and go, oh, phooey, I gotta start again. But I like it. It's really comfy. I am probably gonna be knitting more of these, especially since I now kind of understand that I do like the longer band on the bottom and that these are probably a little too short for comfort, but I'm definitely gonna be making more of this. As you can see, I love wearing tank tops with bralettes underneath, so this is like my go-to outfit most of the days. So that is my only finished object this week. All right, everybody. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, I told you about my Tecumseh sweater that I was super close with finishing. I think I finished, nope, I was still working on the first sleeve, but I was almost done with it, and then I was gonna work on the second sleeve. And here it is. Now you guys are probably thinking, what the heck happened? Or if you guys follow me on Instagram, you kind of have an idea of what happened. Where did it go? It was almost done. The body was done. The sleeves were started. What happened? Well, funny story. I split the sleeves, as you guys can see. Above the second leaf motif on the sweater, the stitch count does not differ at all from these, from splitting it up here or splitting it down here. It's just personal preference of mine. I like to be able to put my arms up and not have my whole sweater come up with me while I'm wearing it. So I wanted the more fitted sweater kind of feel to it. But somewhere I got really cocky with splitting the sleeves. So, and I didn't notice actually that I had done this until I had started and was halfway done with the second sleeve. One sleeve had 7 repeats of the leaf motif on it. The other sleeve had 6. So obviously that's not something I could have fixed once I realized that issue. I had to rip out my sleeves, and then I had to rip all the way up to this spot. So I had to essentially rip out most of my sweater because the issue was just I had a wrong stitch count when I split the sleeves. It was twisted, it was wrong, and there was no way I could have just fixed it on the fly. I had to rip everything out. However, there is a silver lining in this. Because of that issue, I had time to order some more yarn in the Machita? Sorry. I had some more time to order yarn in the Ario weight from Malabringo. So I no longer have that worsted body because I now have the right kind of yarn. I don't have a worsted lower half and then a DK weight upper half and sleeves. And I also was able to get more of the colors needed in the leaf and then in the plus motifs, so they are double held. So I can double hold those fingering yarns, not just on the body, but I can also double hold them on the sleeves as well. So there's a silver lining. I can do the sweater better now that I have the right yarn and I have the right amount of yarn for it. It's just, once I realized my mistake and I ripped it out, it was pretty disheartening to start again. So I'm not working on it as fast as I was before. As you can see, I did make another object, so I spent a lot of my time on that, but I'm slowly working on it. I put a good amount on it the last couple days or so, just because now my Ribble Bralette is done. I have something to work on. I did have another work in progress started just because I wanted to put this guy in timeout and just kind of sit on it for a little bit and just kind of fester in my my issue with my sweater. But I did start, and if you guys follow me on Instagram, you would have seen this on one of my stories, and I also talked about it in the last episode that I wanted to start a Breeze Racerback tank top by, I believe it's also by JessieMae Martinson or JessieMae Design. I have one, I'm actually wearing it right now. So I wanted to make another one of these. I think this thing is so comfortable. It's perfect for summer. So I wanted to make another one. And I showed you guys that sock blank that I got from Perfect Stitch Fiber Company in Maleficent. And here it is. It's not a work in progress, as you guys can see. I started the Breeze Racerback tank top, and I got past the ribbing, and I got about an inch into it, and do you ever guys just not feel a pattern or a yarn once you start working with it and what you thought was going to be really cool looking? I love variegated yarns. It was too variegated for me. It was too it's a very pretty yarn, and actually I think I may use this for a shawl somewhere down the road, but it was not the right yarn for this pattern. It just did not speak to me. It wasn't something I wanted to wear. Maybe something my sister or a friend of mine would like to wear, but it wasn't something I wanted to wear. And right now I am in a very selfish knitting mood for the summer. So I ripped it out. Actually, I ripped it out last night, and I wound it up into a cake because I had half of a sock blank just kind of chilling out in a ball. And here we are. So it's very pretty. I don't know if you guys can see the different colors in there. It's a very pretty sock blank that I now have not, it's no longer a sock blank obviously, but very pretty. Probably will be a shawl at some point or part of a shawl. I do eventually, and this is something that I probably will do maybe even a year or two down the road, I do want to do a Find Your Fade shawl. I know I'm several years late for that train. However, it's one of those things I feel like every knitter that's in tune to what's popular and what's not should make a Find Your Fade shawl, just because it's one of the first patterns I ever heard about that was considered a quote-unquote trending pattern. But maybe we'll be part of one day, we shall see. Obviously, because I love this tank top, I do still want to make one. And last night, while I was sitting in bed just kind of thinking about, okay, what should my next project be? It's going to be this pattern, but what yarn? I kind of dug into my stash and I found something that I have had for several years. And I actually picked up in Madison from KnitCircus, actually back when they were at their old store. So it's this 175 gram, 700 yard superwash merino and 20% nylon sock yarn base or sock yarn cake. And it's this beautiful like purpley blue to dark maroon, I'd say almost cranberry color. And I think it's going to make a really cool looking breeze back racer tank. I can't say anything to save my life. But it is, I've had this it's been in my stash I think for several years now. And now, back when I actually bought this, the KnitCircus girls did not have as many things in their store as they do now. I follow KnitCircus and Jennifer, who is also Driftless Knitter on Instagram and Ravelry, and also here on YouTube. You go check out her podcast if you guys are interested. I follow those girls, and they have so many cool bases now, so many cool yarns. But this I picked up back when they were only doing sock weight, and they were only doing these gradient cakes. So I think it's going to make a very cool tank top, and I kind of want to hold it close to my heart just because Jennifer is one of those girls that I've known since I started really seriously knitting. She was one of the first people that I talked to when it came to, hey, how do I get into the world of super wash merino and tiny knitting needles. So I think I'm going to cast this guy on soon, maybe tonight. We shall see. I obviously want to maybe finish the second motif on the body of my Tecumseh before I do that, but also if I get frustrated, I know I've got this second project here, just in case. I kind of touched on this earlier. It's I had to order some new yarn for my Tecumseh sweater to keep my white the body of the sweater consistent. So I went out to Amazon. I knew that was going to be probably the cheapest and fastest way for me to find this yarn, and I found some more of the Malabrigo Natural and Aereo that I needed to finish the body. I ordered it, said it'd be in there a couple days. I'm like, perfect, it's Amazon, whatever. What I didn't realize is that I wasn't buying it from a big retailer. I was buying it from this really cute little company called Wool & Co. I know this is a pretty well-known company, but I've never bought from them before. And they are in St. Charles, Illinois. And when I received my little package of these two, it was so cute. They had it wrapped in this cute little wrapping paper and tied up with a string. They included a little handwritten note on the receipt, thanking me for purchasing yarn from them, and also included a little stitch marker. It was attached to this guy originally, and I've ripped him off, and he's now in my stitch marker hoard. And it was just a very simple silver ring with an orange bead on it. But it was so unexpected. I did not expect to get a very nicely packaged yarn from Amazon, and especially from, the fact I didn't realize I was buying it from I wouldn't say, obviously it's not a wholesale retailer, but it's, a cute little company. So I just wanted to give them a shout out and say thank you so much. I really appreciate all of that personalization that they gave to just buying some Malabrigo yarn to make sure I can finish my sweater correctly. So this is the only stash enhancement. I should say stash additions. I don't want to steal Kristen from Volan Vine's thing when she says stash enhancement, but my stash additions the last 2 weeks. I've been trying to not enhance or make any additions to my stash just because I have a lot of it and I need to knit through it, and I also don't have as much money in the world as I wanted. So this is probably going to be the last stash addition this month that you guys will see, but also I cannot predict the future. So I don't know. Alright guys, that's the end of my knitting content here on my podcast, but I do have some personal things that I wanted to kind of share with you guys, because I know it's something that I've seen before on knitting forums and other podcasters have talked about, and I just wanted to kind of talk about mine. Tomorrow is knit night here at my local yarn shop that I've been going to. They've only had a couple of them because they are a newer shop, but so far I've really enjoyed going. However, this week I'm sharing a little apprehension on going. Not because it's an unfriendly environment or the people there are very judgy. It's mostly all in my head. So I'm experiencing a little bit of social anxiety when it comes to joining local yarn and knitting groups. I know that it's a very welcoming community, especially in the last couple months with all of the stuff that's been going on. But I'm still sharing a little bit of apprehension. I have suffered from social anxiety in the past for several years now. And I've done some things to take care of it, help work through it, all that stuff. But the idea of going to this knit night brings me a lot of joy, as well as some fear that I'm some kind of annoyance or not, people aren't excited to see me. I don't have a lot of friends here and where I am currently located. And I feel like going and trying to make friends is almost like an annoyance. I know it's not like that. I know that. I know that's not how the reality of the situation is, but it is something I'm currently experiencing. I know I will still go to knit night tomorrow night. which is Wednesday night. I'm not sure when this video is going to go up, but it's Wednesday night. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I usually do post on my story when I'm there, just because I feel part of that community at the time. But I know a lot of other knitters experience this too. This is my first knit night that I've ever gone to. This particular shop's knit night. I've never been to one before. The only time I could think of that I've really done a knit night was when Arne and Carlos were visiting Yarnology in Winona, Minnesota. Me and my roommate at the time went and saw them and sat around for about 4 hours with them knitting. But that was more of a meet and greet. It wasn't really a knit night. You know, the people were there with a purpose, to meet Arne and Carlos. It is, I know I have this fear is unfounded. It's just the apprehension that's holding me back. And working through that is something that I'm trying to do, and obviously will continue to do, because social anxiety doesn't really go away. Your brain will find new reasons not to do something and not to go anywhere, and obviously it's a struggle for a lot of people, and I just wanted to share my struggle with that. So I know I will still go tomorrow. You will see that on my Instagram, but it is something that's kind of been in my mind the last couple of days, and while the fear is definitely unfounded, it's still there. But working through that is something I know I can do, and I have done it before. So it is just something I wanted to share with the community and make people aware of. So yeah, here's my personal time for you guys. All right, guys, if you've made it to the end of this podcast, give it a like. Please subscribe. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I do put all of the patterns, yarns, and other things that I talk about in this description below as well. So let me know what you guys think, and I will see you next time.